Hello, I'm Dr. Leslie Sinn, and I am a veterinary behaviorist with a practice located in Leesburg, Virginia, Northern Virginia area. And I have been asked by our friends at Your Dog's Friend to talk to you a little bit about what it is that a veterinary behaviorist does, what our background and training is, and why you might need the services of a veterinary behaviorist. So a little bit about my background. I am indeed a veterinarian. I have gone through training just like your general practitioner has. Usually it consists of 4 years of undergraduate study and 4 years of veterinary college as well. But as a veterinary behaviorist, I am a specialist, which means that I have had 3 to 4 years of additional training, specifically in the area of behavior. So things like learning theory, psychopharmacology, welfare, and areas that emphasize neurology, study of the brain, and genetics. So lots and lots of emphasis on behavior, lots and lots of emphasis on learning theory, lots and lots of emphasis on training and skills. The difference between a veterinary behaviorist and a general practitioner or a veterinary behaviorist and a trainer hopefully starting to become a little bit more obvious now. Your general practitioner is just like your general practitioner in human medicine. So they have a very strong background in basic medicine and wellness, but not necessarily the grounding and education in the pharmacology and or the learning theory aspects of behavior. A trainer, certainly we have many skilled trainers in the Northern Virginia area, and I certainly count them as my colleagues and part of the team that we use when we work on solving behavior issues. But most trainers' background and emphasis is specifically on learning theory and on teaching skills. So, for example, teaching a dog to sit, or teaching a dog to come, or teaching a dog to down, but not necessarily behavior modification, although, again, there are some trainers out there that are very skilled in that area. And so when we talk about specific behavior problems or behavior issues, not training problems, but behavior problems, a veterinary behaviorist is probably the best person able to address those needs and concerns. Behavior problems are very separate, very distinct from a training issue. Completely different story teaching a dog to sit, for example, as compared to teaching a dog to calm down or relax if it's anxious. So that kind of gives you an idea about how that background helps to address those basic concerns. By the time I see clients in my consultation or practice, they've usually spent a lot of time and a lot of effort in trying to address their pet's concerns. And honestly, some of my clients have the best trained dogs in the world. They've spent thousands of dollars on those dogs. The dog can sit, the dog can down, the dog can spin. They've got 32 different behaviors on cue, but they still have a behavior issue. For example, separation anxiety, or for example, fear of storms, or for example, leash reactivity because the dog is frightened and or aggressive towards other dogs. So that gives you an idea of some of the common concerns that we see. The bulk of the practice is dogs because, well, dogs are kind of the #1 pet, and so there are more of them. But nothing brings a client in faster than a biting dog because of the liability issues and because of the concerns and stress associated with aggression in our society. But certainly we see dogs for many other issues or problems. I alluded to some of those: separation anxiety, noise phobia, this time of year storm phobia, storm sensitivity, leash reactivity, inner dog aggression. So lots of different issues and problems. And dogs aren't the only animal that we deal with, the only species that we deal with. We see a fair number of cats. Probably about 20% of the practice is cats. Cats, well, cat people don't seem to be able to stop with just one kitty. So there are often a lot of problems with inter-cat aggression, where they've tried to mix random cats together and the cats aren't buying it. Lots of issues with house soiling and inappropriate urination in the home. So those are just some examples. Cats can certainly be anxious and fearful as well, and we try and help people with those problems. And then, believe it or not, we actually see some other animals or other species in addition to it. Many veterinary behaviorists have a very strong background in either lab animal or zoo animal. Wildlife are often citizens. Parrots are common pets and are commonly seek help from a veterinary behaviorist. So to give you an idea of some of the unusual animals that I've worked with or treated, I've certainly worked with a lot of parrots, animals like pot-bellied pigs, rabbits, aggressive rabbits, house-soiling rabbits, and a variety of zoo and laboratory animals as well from various facilities in our area. So a big variety, and I shouldn't leave off large animals either. We see horses, we see llamas, we see miniature goats, so we see all kinds of animals that have a variety of behavior issues or problems. One of the areas that I think might be of interest in this COVID outbreak and shutdown that we're all experiencing right now is the possibility of increased issues with separation anxiety. We're all kind of bracing ourselves for that time when our owners have to head back to work. And they've just finished spending literally months, day to day, 24/7 with their dogs and cats. So we're very concerned that separation anxiety might be a problem, or that we will see a surge in separation anxiety. And that would be a problem that a veterinary behaviorist would be quite well suited to address. So that gives you a little bit of an idea of what veterinary behaviorists do. There are not very many of us in Northern Virginia. There's a grand total of about 80 of us in the USA and Canada. So we only have jokingly referred to ourselves as unicorns, but we're very fortunate here in the DC Metro Maryland area to actually have several veterinary behaviorists, two in Maryland, two in the Northern Virginia area, and one down in the Richmond area, either veterinary behaviorists or their residents. So we're very fortunate in that regard. If you are interested in finding a veterinary behaviorist near you, you can go to the website for the American College of Veterinary Behaviorists, and under the top tab, there's a pull-down menu that says Find a Behaviorist. You can put in your state and zip code, and it will give you, do a search function for you and give you the veterinary behaviorist nearest to you. So I hope you find that information useful, and certainly you know where to find me if you need me, or you can reach out to our folks at Your Dog's Friend for additional help. Thank you so much.